What's going on, brother?
Yeah, what's up?
What's happening, family? Great to see you, man.
You too, man.
My man. Is that what is that? Is that the red light around you? What's going on here?
uh, I got I got orange curtains.
That's dope.
I guess there's some red light, but that's not what's doing it.
That's dope. The light is coming through. It's coming through. Man, orange is my favorite color, bro.
Lit. It started becoming like recently, like the last like 10 years or so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Well, I mean, that's the creative center, the sacral chakra.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Creativity. But my man, how was the Billy Idol concert?
It was amazing.
You enjoyed it, man?
Yeah, it was a good time for sure.
What was the most amazing thing about it, you feel? What was your like overall takeaway, the feel, the energy, the atmosphere?
I guess it's like, anytime you hear nostalgia music, uh, it's just like, I don't know, it just reminds you of childhood. And it's like, oh, I'm seeing this dude now. Like, I don't know, this is a trip. But yeah. And I'm good friends with his son, so it's even weirder. Cause
Oh,
yeah, like his son's my friend, but then like I forget his dad is like Billy Idol.
yeah.
It's trippy.
That's cool. So you be hanging with his son.
Yeah. We like collaborate on stuff sometimes, and yeah, he's a really, really cool guy. Probably the coolest person I know.
Whoa, that's dope. That's dope, man. Whereabouts did you see the concert?
It was at the Roxy,
The Roxy
in
where?
like West Hollywood, like yeah, like Sunset Doheny area.
Okay, okay. The Roxy, West Hollywood. Awesome. Awesome. So you said it brought some nostalgia back. He played some things
For
that really
sure.
brought that feeling for you.
Yeah, it's like being a kid again, pretty much. Guess that's what music does.
For sure, for sure, and I love the way you say that the way that music does these things, the way that it triggers certain things within us. I enjoy the way that you use music in terms of your platform as well when you're projecting these positive messages, you know? You use music on your platform, you know that.
Yeah, I didn't realize people were paying that close attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you put it out there for people. It looks very intentional. Like when I go and I look at the name of the song that you put on a particular meme or a particular post or video, it pertains directly towards it.
Most likely, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's like the power of music, it definitely shapes people. It shapes our perceptions. It has that power.
Yeah,
It has that power.
definitely a very powerful tool. I guess I found it underrated, but yeah, I didn't realize how much it could control people's emotions and like actions and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. Do you feel over the years your taste in music has changed a lot when it comes to understanding the power of that influence?
I feel like I became more lenient on the genres and types of music, but I actually don't even listen to music that often anymore. I used to listen to music a lot more, but I don't listen to music too often anymore. I
Okay.
guess like driving and working out, and that's pretty much it. As opposed to before growing up, it'd be 24/7 on headphones, on a TV, and
Yeah. Wow. So what do you feel has been the substitute? What's been the alternative?
just peace.
Okay. So nothing, just listening to nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's just like just so many stimulations. I eventually just got tired of all the stimulations, and just nice to have peace of quiet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is so interesting, man. And brother, what do your friends mostly call you?
Azzdine.
So
Some
Azzdine,
Yeah, Azzdine. Some
Azzdine,
people
and it's
call
not.
me AZ, but it's really rare. Or as. Um, I feel like if I'm dating a girl, she might call me as, but it's
Yeah.
usually Azzdine.
And Azzdine, the name Azzdine. you're the first person I ever heard with that name. Like, where did that come from?
It's an Arabic name. My mom's from West Africa.
Hmm.
Um, it's popular like in Northern Africa, like Algeria, like those Islamic countries. It means religion is powerful, or at least one of the definitions I found. That's
Okay.
pretty much what it means.
So your name literally translates to religion is powerful.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. How did that resonate with you when you found out the translation?
I guess at the time I wasn't like super, super deep in. I mean, I've always been like, believed in God, and like I grew up Muslim, and I even at one point I was even like praying 5 times a day, but
Mm.
like I was never like, I never considered myself religious. But like I feel like recently I was like, oh, I feel like yeah, I feel like it does fit. Um, Even though I'm not religious, but I'm like I guess maintain a spiritual practice and stuff. So like,
Okay. So you were never raised in the church or anything like that?
no, straight. I was straight Muslim, so like my mom would go like to the prayer groups on Fridays because Muslims they pray on Friday nights instead of like Sunday mornings. Um, yeah, at one point I prayed like 5 times a day for like maybe a year. I
Okay.
still fast on Ramadan just to like bond with my mom, I guess. And I like fasting so much anyway. I might as well fucking fast on Ramadan. But yeah,
When you were doing the 5 times a day, were you praying to the east, or what were
yeah.
you?
East, I knew the whole shit by heart.
Wow. Wow.
Let's do the ablution when you wash yourself.
Yeah.
So
Oh
it
my.
was funny because if you fart or pee, you had to do it over again. I thought that was hilarious.
Is that
You
right?
farted. You're not pure.
I I never knew that.
Yeah, it's pretty. If you fart, pee, or shit, you got to do it over again. You're like unpure.
Impurity.
Yeah,
You got to scratch that. Do it over.
and it's like because it's funny because I like drawing like lines to all the different religions and stuff, and it's funny that like if you pee or shit, I just find it funny that you're impure. It's like it's just very interesting.
Wow. When it came to the absolution, when it came to those practices, when it came to like praying to the east and doing those things diligently, what do you feel was the kind of discipline you had back then? And if you don't do that today, how did that energy transfer into your day-to-day diligence right now?
Yeah, I guess I've always been like somewhat disciplined in like the stuff I liked. Like, I grew up playing video games. So I
Mhm.
was like very disciplined in beating the motherfuckers and like getting better at it so I could beat my brother.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I guess like now I kind of like, meditate every morning or at least like when I'm on like a good rhythm, meditate every morning and stuff like that. It does remind me of waking up to pray and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And also like it was just fun. It was like something to do, and like I just like stuff to do. And at the time, I was like I think 11 or something or 12. It was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get really good at praying, and like, but I wasn't really thinking like, oh, I'm praying to go to heaven. Like that never connected to me in my brain. I don't know how that connects to other people, but for me, it was never like, oh, I'm gonna pray and go to heaven. I was just like praying just to get good at it for some reason. It was weird.
So there was no heavenly goal. It was like just building the skill of prayer or the
Yeah,
practice of prayer
yeah.
itself.
And deep down, I knew it would make my mom happy. And I guess I was a troublemaker.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, at least one thing will make my mom happy. And that was kind of a reason too. And up at the time when I started praying, it was during a visit. I was in France at my mom's cousin's family's house,
Hmm.
and they had a son that was like super into like Muslim stuff, and he was older than me. So like we're hanging out all day, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go pray," and I'm like, "Okay." And then like after a week, I was like, "I'm just gonna pray with you," because like this is weird. We were like hang out all day, and he was gonna go pray, and I was
Yeah.
like, I just felt like we might as well do it together.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, man. You remind me, there's a quote that I remember, Azzdine. It's by Martin Luther. And the quote says, I have so much I need to get done today. I better spend another hour down on my knees,
Damn.
you know? And I was like, whoa, when I heard that quote first, it kind of went over my head. What is he talking about? Like, spend another hour down on his knees, like another hour in prayer, because he has so much, on his schedule. But then I started to think to myself, it's like, oh, maybe it's like he's, you know, the investment that he's putting in prayer is actually doing something for the work that he has ahead. Like it's a good investment, or he'd better, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or maybe their work was the prayer.
Right, right, right.
And that's another thing too, like prayer like is so humbling, and like I feel like humans don't do that enough. Like fuck the God shit. Like just to be like humble, like that's like completely gone in our society. And like
Mm,
it just takes a lot to like sit down, go on your knees and just like, submit yourself to like whatever you believe in. And like I feel like that's it feels good to just like do that every now and then.
mm. Whenever you used to pray, you know, very often, did you ever feel like you received answers from your prayers?
No. I've always just felt like I don't know if it's like conditioning, but I've always just felt like it was good. Like I've always felt like it was like a good thing to do, but I didn't really necessarily receive answers. Even through meditation, mainly receive answers like randomly, like
Okay.
either before I'm going to sleep or right when I wake up or
Hmm.
walking around. But it's
Hmm.
just like really peaceful.
Yeah. Okay. So it kind of gave you a peaceful countenance. It did for your
Yeah,
overall demeanor, it like your energy.
yeah. And always afterwards too is always like a super like calm, like peacefulness afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I didn't know you were a gamer.
Yeah, I used to be. I had to stop. Jesus.
Bro, I relate to you so much, man. For over 2 decades of my life, I devoted myself to video games.
Yes.
He's like, yeah.
Yes, I did.
What was one of your favorites?
I mean, I guess the most recent was like, the Call of Duty phase. But
Okay.
growing up, I just loved fighting games.
Okay.
Shit,
What, like Tekken, Street Fighter?
Tekken, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear. I don't know if you know
Okay.
Guilty Gear. I was a big
Okay.
fan here. The Gundam fighting game, Marvel vs. Cap. I mean, I could go on forever. I just
Yeah.
loved all games. But like the first most intense I remember playing like all day was like GoldenEye on N64.
Oh
That
my
I
God.
remember playing that until I was dizzy and felt carsick.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. You know that what is Nintendo 64?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
Duke Nukem 3D. I used to love that game.
Oh, Duke Nukem, he had all the one-liners.
Duke Nukem was. I can't believe that game was allowed to be out. That shit was crazy. You could tip prostitutes. That game was insane.
What did he say? He said I'm here
To kick
uh
ass and chew bubble gum.
and I'm all out of gum.
Oh man, that game was
Yo,
awesome.
yeah, Duke Nukem.
And they had a
What was that?
Megadeth soundtrack. What?
Oh my God, bro, you taking me back.
That was awesome.
You taking me back, man. You know, and I remember on N64, definitely when it comes to competitive natures and when it comes to those fighting games, Super Smash Brothers.
Oh yes.
That was the one with the neighborhood. That was the neighborhood one.
That's till this day. That's like one of the only games I could play and literally like pick off as if it was yesterday, like as a kid, and still be as good. That game really like stuck. Super Smash Brothers. Like all the other games will take you like a couple of hours to get back into it. Super Smash is like immediate. It's
Yeah,
right back.
yeah,
It was a
yeah,
good
man. Everybody had their character, you know? Everybody had that character that they stuck with, you know? Like they really were going hard into it, hard in the paint with that character. Oh man. Now it's like it's all flooding back. You know what was interesting? Because like yourself, you know, the Call of Duty, the first person shooters, but I also invested a lot of my life into the RPGs, you know, and even like the massively multiplayer online RPGs. And I remember hearing the theme music in my
Oh
mind.
yeah, constantly,
You know what I mean?
constantly, or even the Game Boy turn on. Doing, I'd be like, what? Doing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was just always see the Game Boy turn on like that. Well, RPGs is what made me stop playing games. Like the last game I played was Demon Soul.
Oh
I
yeah.
was already in my 20s, so at that point, I spent like so much time in that game. I was like, I can't play games anymore. I literally like, no, I retired after that.
Wow, bro. bro, he retired.
I couldn't. I was like, unless I'm gonna make video games, like I just can't invest this much time into something
Yeah, yeah.
and not get anything in return. I guess.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Azzdine. You know, like Dark Souls, that series from Software,
Yeah.
that series literally it felt like they took my soul, bro. Like it felt like they captured me
It
in ways
was. I was
because
so
it,
involved.
what did you say?
I was like so involved in those games. I don't know what it was. It was like I
Right.
was sucked in. I love those games.
Yeah. It was a it was almost like a pleasure pain balance, like pleasure and pain. You
Yeah.
know?
Like you die,
Because
you're like, oh, I lost it all. And you're
right.
like back in it.
And it hooked you. You know, it sunk its claws into you because at first when I started playing the game, bro, I hated it. I was like, why do people like this? Why do people enjoy this? I was like, I'm dying left and right. Everywhere I go, I'm dying. And then they have the obnoxious, you know, words on the screen. You died, you died. And then
Oh,
you lose all your progress. So it's like all the time that I invested feels like it went down the drain. Everything, all my progress. But then when you have that sense of accomplishment, like you said, that stimulation that comes from that epic win, you did everything, you finally got it, and then you got, you know, you put all into it and you beat it, and you're like, ah, you know, and it's like an IV straight to the veins, you know.
straight dopamine. And it's interesting. I saw the other day on, I don't know if it's real because it's Instagram, but some dude designed a VR headset that kills you if you die in the game. And I was
What?
like, no fucking way. It's a whole nother level.
Wait,
It's a whole
how is
nother
that even
level.
possible?
He hooked up electronic charges to the thing, and when you die, it just short circuits and kills you. But I don't know if it was a joke, but it didn't. It looked pretty serious. It was like this week on crypto news, and they had all these other things, and that was one of the things they named. So it was like in the metaverse. I don't know who's playing that game, but it might be exciting to watch if people are betting money and their lives.
Whoa, that, yeah, that sounds like one of those you know, because people already bet money on those spectator sports like the gladiator sports, you know, to see
Exactly.
different arenas. So to see somebody competing for their life,
Yeah, that's the future.
that's the future. So they're in their mind, they have the VR headset, and if they die in the game, that's like the Matrix.
It's like, yeah, it's like a
Well,
matrix within a matrix because we're in a fucking matrix already. So it's just
that's
like,
that's
it's
what
great.
Morpheus told Neo, right?
Yeah, he's like, you die, you die in real life.
Yeah, because Morpheus was fighting Neo, and I know you remember this, as he was fighting Neo in the dojo, and they were fighting. He was like, you know, come on, stop trying to hit me and hit me. You
Yeah,
know, and he's like fighting him, and then when he hit Neo, or when something happened, he jumped and something, his mouth started bleeding,
yeah.
and he was like, wait a minute, like I thought you said it wasn't real, and he said, your mind makes it real. I was like, whoa.
That movie is insane.
He said, your mind makes it real, you know? Like there is no separation, that mind body connection. If you die in here, you're gone. Wow. So,
That movie was foreshadowing too much.
oh man. Oh man. Yeah, that gave me goosebumps just now. That gave me chills, you know? Oh man. So your life is on the line.
Yeah, I wonder how hard those games. Hopefully, they're super easy. Jeez.
Right.
Fuck.
like, like no pressure. No pressure, right?
And
Oh
hopefully
man.
they reward people monetarily for like beating levels or something.
Right.
Jeez.
Right. There got to be some kind of reward system.
Yeah, like $1,000 or something. God damn.
Yeah. Like make come on, we're talking about my life. You know,
For real.
what is it worth? You know, there was a story I heard, as being, or a gentleman, he was experimenting with plant medicine, and he did a large dose, like a heroic dose of shrooms.
5 grams.
something like that. Yeah, a heroic dose. And he got the notion to put on his VR headset
Hmm.
and start playing a game. But here's the thing: the kicker was he forgot that he put on the headset.
Oh no.
Can you imagine?
Damn. Is he
Can you?
okay?
I hope he's okay. I don't know what happened to him, but they said he put on the headset and he forgot he put it on, and
Hmm.
he was already on psychedelics.
That's dangerous.
So what could you imagine? You know, like you said, a matrix within a matrix within a matrix.
Three matrices.
That's Inception, right?
Straight up. Straight up Inception. Straight up.
You know. So how what did Morpheus say? He said, you know, how deep does the rabbit hole go? You know,
How deep does it go?
how
Do we
deep.
die or do we just wake up?
Do you ever feel like through your meditations over the years, have you touched that deep vibration where you feel like you've gone to a depth or explored something within your own psyche or within the realm of your reality or even just in consciousness that you could never have touched with any external substance or any outside substance?
Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause I feel like the psychedelics is kind of like watching a movie. You know, when you're like completely, when you let go completely, it's kind of like you're being showed things, um, and you experience everything and all that. But through meditation, there's just like, you know, it doesn't happen all the time, but when you get to like that oneness of everything and like oneness of like consciousness,
Mm.
it's kind of like nothingness and everything at once. And it's like
Mm.
very and the second you even think about, oh, I'm here, it'll go away, you know? You would
Mm.
have to just like, and it's definitely way more profound than anything I've ever taken in my life, like by far.
Okay.
I've seen some crazy shit.
Man, man. So you said this the second you think about it.
The second you're aware of it, you're not aware anymore. It's so weird. It's like you have this universal oneness awareness, and the second you're aware of that awareness, you're back in it. It's like
Hmm.
so crazy.
Man.
Like you have to like, yeah. I don't even know how people. I guess it's like when you get better at it, you know, longer might be able to spend longer periods of time like that. But
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, how do you maintain that sense of awareness without becoming too aware, you know?
I always like liken it to like tightrope walking because that's it's like once you like falter a little bit, you like lose balance. You just have to like remain super like focused
Mm-hmm.
or not. I don't even know what to explain because it's not even focus at that point. It's like the opposite. It's just so weird. It's like
Mm-hmm.
so like fragile.
Wow. It reminds me of people who have had like out of body experiences or astral projection. And
Same,
the
similar, very similar astral projection. Yeah,
okay, so it's similar to that. Like when people have recalled, you know, having that sensation of being beyond their body, and then the moment that they realize it, or even if they're in a lucid dream, you know, and the dream is very vivid, and they might realize in the dream all of a sudden, like, wait a minute, I'm dreaming. This is a dream right now, you know, and then all of a sudden wake up,
yes.
you know. So
Which
it's,
tells us a lot about our subconscious. Like
what does it say?
I feel like our subconscious is actually the one in control, not our consciousness. Because
Mm,
like the second we realize stuff, our subconscious is like, oh, I'm out of here, and then we're back in it. It's just like,
right.
yeah,
Whoa. So that sounds like the subconscious almost has like a safety mechanism to protect you.
yeah.
Okay. But protecting you from what?
I guess from like our like fears.
Okay.
I guess maybe it's not even really protecting us, but is like just like knows that if you're fearful of something, it just like stops expanding or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that would make sense that fear is kind of like a block or a barrier for our expansion.
Yeah, that's how I always felt like fear, and it's weird because it's like normally it's like, oh, I'm not fearful, but then like you know, for that, it's like when you get surprised when someone opens the door or something. It's like that split second of fear would just throw you out of it completely.
Mhm.
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. Some people have said or recounted that through the practice of meditation, they've overcome or conquered their fear of death and their fear of different things in this reality. What do you feel like has been a fear that you have overcome over the years?
Um, hmm, that's a good one. I'm actually like not a very I'm not a very fearful person, but I'm sure there's something I could think of. Um, oh, I guess maybe the fear of like being alone.
Okay.
That wasn't like too recent, but yeah, I guess that'll be one of them.
So solitude.
Yeah, like fear of like, oh, I'm never gonna get married, never get married and have babies. But yeah, I guess maybe that.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess maybe yeah.
And how did you face it?
Through meditation, I don't know, like once you realize that outside forces are not governing your happiness, like really nothing really matters at that point. Like nothing that happens would either like make you like super sad about it because you know it's just like whatever, it's part of life, it'll come and go.
Right.
And yeah, good things when they happen, that's great, but they're not permanent, you know.
Hmm.
Can't
So
always be funny.
impermanence. Impermanence, yeah. And what did you find out that was governing your happiness? Like, what was that revolution for you?
Oh, dopamine.
Oh.
I don't know if my mom's gonna watch this. I'll just leave it at
Is your
that.
mom's here?
No, but I don't know. Like one day she might see this. I don't want her to yell at me. But yeah, dopamine. Yeah, you know, whether it's from like food, women, drugs, alcohol, parties. Yeah,
So that was the revelation, was that the dopamine from all of those stimulants, those were governing your happiness?
yeah. I was like, oh, get those. I'm happy. Don't get those. I'm sad. I want more of those. It's
Mhm.
like all humans, you know. Why can't I always have that? So childish.
Do you still feel remnants of that, or do you feel that you've transcended that?
No, I definitely transcended that. I still enjoy stuff. But I realized that like, you know, you don't always need it to be happy. It just makes it better.
Mm.
It's an experience, you know, it's an upgrade, but it's not a downgrade when you don't get it. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
One more time. So you said it's not an upgrade, but also not an
It's an upgrade when you get the stuff, but it
upgrade.
doesn't necessarily mean that's a downgrade if you don't get it, you know.
Right.
This is like the baseline is always happy. It's not like, oh, I don't have that stuff, I'm miserable.
Right.
Which I feel like the most human civilization is living like that.
Okay. Yeah, we do, because it's okay. So it's like it's a bonus if you have it, but if you don't have it, it doesn't mean you're not enough.
Yeah, doesn't mean it's not like a negative. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. That's a big one, for people to realize that, because we do deal with that a lot. You know, it's definitely one thing that I feel like I've dealt with. And when it comes to transcendence as well, you've transcended a lot, I feel. I don't know too much about you, but just from what I've gathered, I recall you were saying that from August to October, you went on like a juice cleanse or a solid food vacation. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
So how were you able to have that when so many people, it seems, are kind of tethered against that sort of transcendence away from what they think keeps them alive, you know?
yeah. What they think, right? That's key. Um, you know, it's been like 5 years. I've been going on and off, like little by little.
Mm.
Um, so it wasn't super. To be honest, it wasn't really that hard. It was actually, it felt really indulgent. To be honest,
Really?
it was delicious. I mean, I'm still technically like I do it every other day now, like pretty much. I never really stopped juicing at that point. Like
Mm-hmm.
now, like I would say 80 or 90% of my calorie intake is juice
Mm.
because it's so delicious. And it's like you got to think like we live in a time now where I could go to the grocery store and buy like watermelons and all these fruits from all around the world and have a juicer.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people around the world that can't do that. They might be like in a beautiful place with like organic fruits and vegetables, but maybe they don't have a juicer, you know. So it
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was a millionaire. Like I literally felt rich as fuck. I was like, oh my god, more watermelon juice on tap, bitches! Like that shit was lit, like delicious. Oh my god,
See, I love
great.
this. That's a new perspective, you know? I love so instead of feeling deprived, you said this is delicious. You felt indulgent.
Yes, this is amazing. Like
Wow.
now, I started recently doing a dry fast every other day,
Mm,
and that's like, that's like it doesn't feel the same. It does feel you do feel like a millionaire once you start drinking again or eating or whatever. But like during the fast, it's like it's nothing. It's like whatever. But the juice thing is just like like I wasn't like doing crazy dry fast and juicing at the same time. I was just like I'm just gonna drink juice. So it
right.
just felt like I was rich. I don't know. I had unlimited juice, and it was actually cheaper. I thought it was gonna be expensive. It was actually cheaper than eating somehow.
Right. 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 Even on the front end and the back end, on the front and the back, it's like there is no lack.
There isn't. There's
There is
abundance.
no lack. I saw the same thing, and it was blowing my mind as well when I realized, like, wow, there's so much that I don't have to deal with. You know?
Yeah, you don't have to think about all this.
Yeah.
Oh man, food is like runs our lives. It's kind of insane. Like people plan their whole day around food, and you got to go grocery shopping. It's just like so ridiculous. After a while, it's like, I mean, it was great. It tastes great. I get it, brings community and all this stuff. But then I feel like it's a fucking like an anchor.
Wow.
Like if people, or when you go hiking or camping, like I'll just go like whatever, like go my backpack and nothing. People are like, oh, we have to bring food, and it's just like you could right then and there you could tell like, oh, okay, this is like holding us back. Like literally, if we like go camping or hiking somewhere, you got to bring all this water and all this stuff. It's like it doesn't feel right for some reason. Like I don't know why. It's like, like I understand we're conscious beings and everything, but like you don't really see animals like carrying shit,
Come on now.
and they're clearly capable of doing it. Like I've seen them pick up shit. So it's like I don't know. I always try to learn as much as I can from animals.
Yeah. That's the Taoist way. Taoist, like, we learn so much from nature. Nature has so many lessons to teach us. You know, for sure. And you remind me of something that Ellie Tom told us. He told us the more knowledge you have, the less you need on your back.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
The less you need on your back. Because if you think to yourself, Azzdine, like, imagine you have an energy bank, you know, like an energy bank account, and every time you do an action, you're investing energy or you're spending energy or something is happening with that energy. And so, just like you said yourself, the energy to go shopping, right? You go to the grocery store, that takes energy. You buy the food, that takes energy. You pick out the food, mental energy. You take the food back, you prepare the food, you cook the.
The money you needed to get to buy the food, even more energy, right?
That's even more energy, right? And then, once you prepare the food, you cook the food, you eat the food, you clean the dishes, you wash everything, you put
Oh
everything
my
away.
god.
But then you're also digesting. Now you have to digest it, and then you have to excrete it, you know? So it's like, wow, that's a lot of energy.
And I really didn't notice until I started fasting. Like when I would go back to eating, I'm like, holy shit, I gotta do all this. It's like 2 hours later just to fucking eat. And it's delicious, I get it. But
Mm.
god damn.
Well,
Like my whole life. It's like you spend like a good day, 24 hours a week,
mm,
just like preparing the food.
mm-hmm.
And that we don't even need. Like, and for say we do need it, most people are eating food that's killing them anyway. So it's like even if they really think they do need it, they're still conscious enough to know like that burger and fries is not helping them. So it's like it's crazy.
And during your fast, when did you get a feeling like, oh, wow, I actually don't need this? Because it's one thing to, hear somebody else's testimony, because like they say, within every belief there is a lie, inside the word. But when you have that inner knowing, that that inner wisdom, something that no one can take away from you because it comes from your own experience, when did you feel like, wow, I could keep going like this? I don't need it.
Um, so I guess I started fasting before the research came in. Although I was aware of Elitum and the boy with the divine powers because I saw those movies early on into my veganism,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw Elitum online and other breatharians. So it was always in the back of my mind. But the first time was like I did an enema, and
Okay.
instantly. I was like, whoa, I'm not hungry. And I was like, this is really weird. Because at that time, I was eating like 5, 6 times a day.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's really weird. I'm not hungry. And I just didn't eat. And then, like, I was slowly thinking about that. I was like, oh, there are people that don't eat. And then little by little, as I started like cleaning out my body and started switching more to like smoothies and other stuff and doing more enemas, it was pretty much instant. I realized like when I wasn't eating, I had more energy than I did when I did eat. And then little by little, I just kept inching it.
Wow. It's like backwards. It's like paradoxical, you know?
It's weird because it's like the liquid goes up your butt and the food's supposed to go out your butt when you eat it. It was just weird. It was like you almost like flipped over the paradigm. And it's like, oh, if you put it backwards, apparently you don't eat.
Oh man. And did any of your family or friends like have any voice in the matter when it came to, I guess, what they might have seen as the peculiarities, or were they perplexed at your practices when it came to fasting?
Well, my mom immediately liked it because she's Muslim. Um, the whole enema thing, I guess I've always been kind of like doing my own thing, so no one really cared that much. They just thought it was weird,
Okay.
and they're like, "Why?" But no, it was mainly people outside my friend group that would be the weirded out ones. But people in my friend group, I guess, already knew me for being weird, I guess. So like, it wasn't a shock to them. But my family ended up doing it. I got my mom to do it. It started helping her like cataracts and other health problems. My sister did it for a while, and she lost like 40. She lost a mad weight. I don't know how much pounds, but she lost a shit ton of weight. My brother did. Pretty much our whole family did it for a while. They never stuck to it completely, except my mom, which is my mom's the only one that still does it out of everyone I know. She's still
Well,
like, and I also follow something called like the mucusless diet, which is like pretty much fruitarianism. But at this point, I'm pretty much fruitarian. But when I started, I was doing like mucusless diet, and my mom follows that as well.
okay. So in helping your mom, how was that? Like the being free of cataracts?
Yeah, she was like losing her vision and other problems. She's still struggling with stuff. I feel like her is mainly spiritual. Like, she has like random pains, but at least her diet is clean, and she like pooped out all the black stuff. Like, she pooped out thousands of gallbladder stones at this point. She's in her 60s, so yeah.
Wow. Wow. I'll never forget it. Like, seeing certain things come out of my body that I didn't even know were inside my body.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
You know?
And then we're not even like that unhealthy. There's people walking around with like, like giant, and I'm just imagining like what's in there. It's probably like rats in there, like cobwebs and spiders.
You know what I'm saying? Bats.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But then you think of our childhood, we're eating plastic and paint thinner for breakfast. So it's like we did that. Everyone did that for a good 12, 13 years.
Oh
So it's
man.
yeah.
Yeah. I saw what you put up, Azzdine, about the cereal. The guy was like, "Don't you know almond milk comes from almond cows?" Almond cows. And I recall, like, in my childhood, I recall the Lucky Charms, the Fruit of the Loops, the Fruity Loops with Toucan Sam, the freaking the Cheerios with that bumblebee, like all the different cereal, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the Cookie Crisp.
Yeah.
Cookie Crisp. Yeah.
Garbage. Oh man. Yeah, so and it's weird because like we're growing, so technically we should be eating the healthy stuff, but they flipped it. Halloween, give your kids candy, and you go in a bus stop, people are shoving ice cream and all, and it's like you're supposed to be eating healthy, like when you're young, should be the exact opposite. But we all grew up eating like the worst things on the planet, pretty much. It's crazy.
I do feel like on some level, I remember I did have a perspective that was kind of molded and shaped due to some amount of programming. Like I recall reading a lot of comic books as a kid, and in between the pages, you would see Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, right? All these athletes. But you would see what the milk mustache. They had the milk mustache
Yeah.
and it would say "Got Milk," or "Snap into a Slim Jim," or all these different catchy, these jingles for all these companies. Yeah.
Yes, it's crazy.
So it was like
And
anybody.
Gatorade too. Like I was under. I just found out like maybe like 4 years ago
Hmm.
that like the athletes they're drinking water, but it's in Gatorade cup. Like
What?
growing up, I thought they were drinking Gatorade. You
Wait,
know,
wait,
like
wait.
you
Say
know,
that.
like in the when you watch the games, like you see the athletes, they'll drink the cup on the sideline, and there's a Gatorade symbol on it. Like my whole life, I thought they were drinking Gatorade, and I found out it was just water. But they're like just promoting Gatorade. So like, yeah, I grew up thinking Gatorade was healthy. Like I thought that's what athletes drink.
They're not even drinking it.
They're not even drinking Gatorade; they're drinking water. It just has a Gatorade cup. That blew my mind. I was like, what? I mean, maybe some of them actually are drinking Gatorade. I doubt it. Like corn syrup, and I'm pretty sure they know that much not to drink Gatorade.
But it's being pushed. It's being
It's
pushed.
being pushed like as if they are drinking Gatorade. Like, look, they're athletes. Drink Gatorade.
Okay. Wow. That's I never knew that. Had you not said that, I would have never known.
See, you thought they were drinking Gatorade too,
Yeah.
just like the commercial, right?
Right. Right. And as Dean, you talked briefly about the mucusless diet, and I saw that you do look up things sometimes on Google just to see what Google says, how they're in contradiction to certain things that we've revealed for ourselves today. Like you saw the urine pH level, the pH of the urine, and you saw how you put lies, the music. I saw it was like lies. I was like, so when it comes to mucus, you've heard of mucoid plaque.
Yeah, totally. I've seen it.
You've
Disgusting.
seen it?
Yeah, it came out of me for sure. And like people that I'd tell to get on a diet, they'll see it as well. It's so gnarly. Jesus.
Bro, what was it like to see that?
So like when I first saw it, I actually didn't know what it was. I was into bodybuilding and I wasn't even vegan yet at that point.
Okay.
So I found out about psyllium husk because I was like trying to get my stomach flatter. Because
Mm,
I was like, oh, why my stomach? I'm doing so much crunches. I didn't realize I was eating like all this junk.
mm.
And so I found out about psyllium husk. So when I first saw it, I didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, what's this? And then later, when I like started being aware and knowing what it was, yeah, it was just like rubber rope, crazy looking stuff. It's gnarly.
And it's in the shape of your colon.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
In the shape.
And on top of that, once you pass it, it's like you gave birth or something. Like you feel it leave you. It's like a blanket's been lifted off your face. It's crazy.
Like you have a whole new body.
Yeah, it's so gnarly that like the whole population were just walking around with that in us.
Like it's like you said, like not only do you feel like you've given birth, but you feel reborn, you know? Like you're born again.
Straight up.
That's crazy. When I seen pictures and videos of people who were putting this, and shout out to all the people who were fearless.
Shout out to everyone that fucking posts those pictures, nasty ass pictures.
Because, recently I just took my family to see the movie Till, you know, and Till is about Mamie and, Emmett Till and what happened to him.
Oh, that's what that movie's about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's about Emmett Till. Till is Emmett Till, and it
Okay.
talks about what happened to him when he went from Chicago to the South and he went to Mississippi, and what happened down in Money, Mississippi. And when they brought his body back, and they wanted to have a closed casket, obviously, because it was gruesome. It was, the body was so bloated from, and everything that had happened to him. But one thing she told the guy, she said, no, I want people to see this. I want people to see my son, because what I just saw in there, in the funeral home, in the morgue, like what I just saw, people will not believe it. They won't believe what I saw unless they see it themselves. You know? So it's like those fearless people who take the videos, like you said, the nasty videos and pictures of the mucoid plaque, because so many of us don't even realize that we have these things in our body, these parasites. I saw somebody took a video of a parasite, and she put a fork for size comparison, and the fork was like this and the parasite was like that.
My sister passed one of those too. like after 2 weeks only of being on a diet and doing enemas, she passed a huge ass parasite.
And it's like, how does it cling? You know, and it's clinging on there. It's it's like, wow. I don't know how people you. It's crazy. It's
That
crazy.
Emmett Till movie, did they? Because I know recently the woman came out and said she lied. Did they go over that in the movie?
Uh, which woman? Which
The
woman?
woman that accused him of catcalling her said she came out recently and said she lied. And
They
did
had
they go over?
ending credits. The ending credits. It showed that she said that. Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm. Yeah. So,
that was crazy.
yeah.
I grew up knowing that story, and then like I'm
Mhm.
like grown now. I'm like, what the
Right. Right.
fuck? God damn.
Yeah.
I'm glad she came out and said it. Shit. Like,
Yeah. It talked about how the people, the people that were involved were paid off, and it talked about like even, but it did say that she came out and she admitted, later on. So, and that they just passed the bill or the act. They just passed it or something in this year. After all those years, they just passed the anti-lynching Emmett Till, yeah, something like that.
they're
Just
still
this,
lynching people, so like,
so it's crazy. So just people who are unafraid to put out and publicize the things that are unpopular. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, wow, like parasites, the things that live within us, that live and breed, the breeding grounds that we have in our bodies.
And they
That's
poo. That's crazy. They're taking shits inside of us.
right.
That's fucked up. That's what got me. I was like, oh hell no. Get these niggas out. No.
Yeah, you remind me of me. I was on a warpath, doing like different cleanses, the blessed herbs cleanse, the colon cleanse, the liver cleanse, the kidney cleanse. At a certain point, I started to let it go and just try and go to a more peaceful way of getting them out, because it just became so much. It became so much. But wow, it's powerful once for some people, seeing is believing. Is
Yeah. There's
yeah.
no one could tell me anything. It's like, bro, like I seen it. Like, all right, do what you want, but I've seen it.
I know what I saw.
Straight up. That's not good. You can't convince me I need that inside me. There's no one's convinced me that.
Right. Wow. So when it came to the effects or the feelings that you got with juice versus the dry, which, like, how is that in comparison for you today?
Um, so dry, to a certain point, right? Like dry, the day number one is like there's no feeling better than that that I've experienced in life yet so far. After day number one, it's like it's on and off throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's really for me is in the mornings when I have to wake up from dry when I dry fast in the morning. It's like, oh, did I just run a marathon yesterday? But the juice honestly is just delicious.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really feel much different because I've been doing it for a while, so I don't. As far as energy is concerned, like I don't feel much difference between juice and eating fruit. It feels the same, except the fruit takes longer to digest, so you're not consuming as much or as often rather.
Yeah.
But the dry fast definitely has the most energy by far. It's almost like as if you did drugs. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I guess people that breatharian feel like that all the time. That's amazing.
I mean, I'm sure you've had nights too where it's like you can't even go to sleep.
Oh, I don't sleep. I barely sleep.
Yeah.
Even without dry fasting, I barely sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
normally like okay, if I'm dry fasting, like I guess like 3 hours, 4 hours is cool. If I'm like fruitarian, maybe like really no more than six though. Like 5, 6 is kind of just the sweet spot.
mm-hmm.
If I work out really, really hard, I'll just feel a little bit more tired in the morning, but I wouldn't necessarily sleep longer.
Right.
But the second, like, if I do decide to like eat some gnarly vegan food, yeah, then sleep is like, oh yeah, I'm tired. Like
Yeah.
I'll see people like on a bus or something, or not the bus, but like like in a movie theater or something, where they're like just sleeping. Like, oh.
Mm,
And I look at that like, wow, like I used to do that when I was younger. You'd be in class, like just fall asleep. Like I couldn't do that if you paid me right now. That's impossible. I don't know how people do that. But they're
right.
just like so bogged down. The second they get the chance to rest, their body's like
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah, it reminds me of what Ellie Tom would always tell us, like how the brain requires the most energy in the body, but it doesn't have a place to store it. So it's like if that energy that it needs is being taken up by digestion, you know, then it's almost like that rerouting of that energy. If the brain is not happy, the body's not happy. So it's like if the brain doesn't have what it needs, it's gonna shut you down. It shut me down it shut me down while I've been driving on the road
Yeah.
and gone to sleep. It's gonna shut you down. Yeah. So it's like, wow, to honor and respect that, you
And
know.
that's another thing, the brain, I underestimated or I wasn't aware of how much food actually affects our brain. I feel like it affects our brain more than anything. Like if I was to like go off and eat like a vegan pizza, like immediately I feel like starts like it's almost like as if I got shot with dope or something. It's like immediately you start feeling cloudy and like things just don't seem as vibrant anymore. It's like really weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely affects the brain more than we let on to believe.
I agree, and that brain fog, the less clarity, that lack of perception and awareness, I've felt those effects as well when it came to like semen retention and the opposite. Like those practices, those energetic practices of retaining and to see what you gain when you retain, and whenever I lost that energy, it was so significant that
So
it was
significant.
undeniable. It was unquestionable.
I think one time I went like 6 months or
Mm,
7 months, a long time.
yeah.
And then I orgasmed. Yo, the next day I slept the entire day. I swear to
Wow.
God. I
Wow.
swear to God. Like I slept the entire day. I couldn't even get up. I
Yeah.
was passed out the entire day.
Yeah.
And I think that's the longest I've went. But in general, yeah, semen retention all day.
Wow.
Keep that shit in.
Bro, brother, so we have a question for you from Lewis. Shout out to Lewis. He goes by Infinite Balance 911. And he asked you, how long was it before you saw the plaque come out of your body?
Oh, like 3 days? Two
Mm,
days maybe?
that was it?
Yeah, I just stopped eating and drank psyllium husk like 3 or 4 times a day and bentonite clay mixture. And yeah, like 2 or 3 days, yeah. It was pretty quick.
Wow. It's crazy how
Everyone's different, so that was
everyone's
just me.
different.
But
Yeah.
it kept coming for 10 days until it
Mm,
finally stopped. And then even after that, it would build up if I would eat like grains or bread. It
hmm
would build up, and then
hmm Yeah. And that should even tell you something as well, as Dean, when it comes to the amount that we can store, you know, how we grossly underestimate our capacity for storage in the body. Because you could go, like you said, 10 days, no solid food, but there's still solid matter is still coming the vessel.
yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird.
And once again, anyone watching this, if you're watching this right now and you're saying to yourself, oh well, that's those guys, but that's not in my body.
But they all say,
I
right?
was saying the same thing. You see these things in other people, but you don't believe that it could be inside you. Yeah. Oh, Lewis asked, how much psyllium husk per day? I only do 2 tablespoons. Shout out to Lewis.
Well, I'm an extremist, so I something in my mind was like, do it until you feel like you can't do it anymore. But that was at the time I didn't know about other bowel cleansers like Cascara Sagrada and stuff. So now I'd recommend doing it with Cascara Sagrada, so it would come out a lot faster. Because the psyllium husk would just like clean house and then pretty much pretty much make you constipated
Hmm
until the constipation reaches a point where you flush everything out. So I was doing it until like my stomach was full. I was doing a lot. I don't even know, like maybe 5, 6. I
Yeah. Yeah.
was doing a lot.
So
Like I
extreme.
think I finished a container in like a week or 10 days or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Man, so do it just until.
But
Until.
that's me. I don't want to. If for advice, I'll tell people combine the psyllium husk with Cascara Sagrada and do a minimum of 2 tablespoons per serving, and you could drink that like 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay.
But I'll definitely recommend Cascara Sagrada. That shit's amazing.
Okay.
Senna's okay, but Senna acts like a stimulant. So it's not doing the same thing as cascara, which pulls water into your colon. The stimulants you could build a tolerance to. You can't really build a tolerance to cascara.
Okay. Okay.
Some
Awesome.
people.
He said, yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Awesome. Man, when did Arnold Ehret pop into the picture, and what do you feel like was the impact of that on you, on
Oh
the
man, he is the best person that ever walked the earth. Probably him and Nikola Tesla and other people. As far as like white people, I don't like like white scientist people that we see in the books. That dude, because of Dr. Sebi, actually. I did the Dr. Sebi thing and didn't like it too much because at that time I was experimenting with different diets. So I was like, I did like a smoothie only, then I was like raw vegan, and then like I tried the Sebi diet, and I was like, okay, it was definitely a downgrade from raw veganism, and I was like, raw veganism was definitely a downgrade from smoothies.
Mm,
And then I was like, where did he learn all this information? Because he's speaking so like he knows so much, he's like so sure of himself. And then I saw an interview and he mentioned Arnold Ehret, and then the rest was history. I googled that dude, read the books, and after that made so much sense to me instantly that yeah. And then when I like by the time I found out about Arnold Ehret, I was already doing enemas and stuff. So it was like I didn't really read anyone talking about enemas. It was just me and the movie I saw about Max Gerson that helped a bunch of like people with terminal diseases cure. So I knew enemas from Gerson, and that's pretty much it. But when I got into that book, I was like, oh, so this guy's explaining why it's good because I didn't know why it was good. I just knew it felt good. Like
okay.
taking giant shits is amazing. But so yeah, it just resonated with me, and yeah, it kind of changed my life. Lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you feel like was that most significant change in your life? Because when you got that piece and you added that to, your perception, how did that really open you up, by reading the book, whereas, before you didn't have that?
I guess the way he put it is like, yo, you don't want food rotting in your system
Right.
for like 6 hours or more. 6 hours should be the least amount is rotting in your system. That made sense because everyone had spoiled food before, like you left it out or whatever. So it made sense. Like, yeah, why would I want that rotting inside me? Like the way it's rotting out there. It's like, yeah, I don't want that rotting inside me. Period. It
Right.
just made sense. It's
Right.
like fermentation and then all the bacteria stuff. Like, it doesn't talk too much about this, but just from research, how like bacteria they take shits.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything's taking shits. So it's
Mm.
like you don't want all this shit inside you, basically. Shit's bad, smells bad. No, no good. It's very common sense, but it's just like I don't know. It just made sense. Like he was just very logical about it, and he's like, the reason why we get sick is because like we're detoxing and the poison gets reabsorbed into our blood, and that's why when you stop eating or whatever, you eat healthy food, you end up getting sick a lot of times, and that also made sense to me. So like I I somehow never really got sick from doing the mucusless diet or fasting, but I know people that did it, and like it just made sense to me. Like I don't know, the worst I would get with like headaches or like not headaches but lightheadedness.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I was so diligent with the shit that I never really felt any negative effects.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So it's just logical, it's just
Super
practical.
logical, yeah.
Thing
And
really.
also like as kids, I hated eating. I didn't eat until I was like 6 or something. Like my
Mm.
mom had to beat me to eat. Like I hated. And then, like, growing up, I realized that kids don't like eating. All kids don't like eating. It's like, now I want to go play. Now eat your macaroni and cheese that clog your butthole. It's like, no, ma, I just want to play in the park. Like, we just force the kids to eat. The kids don't like eating. So
Mm.
it makes sense. So, like, yeah, like, when we were born, we already knew the fucking deal. And then, like, adults, made us do all this crazy condition. It's not their fault, but
Yeah, because I'm still looked at as the crazy one. Full disclosure, I'm the only one in my family that's doing this, the only
nice.
one. So, I mean, they've kind of just, like, now since I'm still alive, they're like, okay, he'll be fine, but they really thought I was crazy. Like they had an intervention because I was fasting, they got me on the phone, and they were like, son, we need to talk, you know? So it was really like heartbreaking to them because they were still consuming all the things that I was raised on. It's crazy, Azzdine. Sometimes when I'm driving around, right, I will see And maybe you've seen on the street, on the side of the road, what they call like roadkill. You see these birds. Sometimes you see them circling overhead, but sometimes you see a group of vultures and they're like picking these dead carcasses on the side of the road, right? And I looked at this bird one time and I just watched this vulture from afar. I just looked at it, I watched it. And for the life of me, I couldn't tell the difference. You know, I was like, what am I doing? Am I not doing the same thing that this bird is doing? This it's like what we call a scavenger. And so I started to see all the things in the grocery stores on the shelves, the things that I used to pick out and get different seasonings and spices and things, condiments to hook it up with, right? To make it taste better, you know? I started looking at it like, these are all dead bodies. And bro, I got so emotional. I couldn't believe that for like 28 years of my life that I had never known this, you know?
That's actually funny because that's a big part of the reason why I went vegan to begin with.
Okay.
I got a dog and he was a little baby. He was like 6 weeks. And I fed him dog food and he immediately got sick and started throwing up everywhere. And me being like obsessively nerdy, I just went on Google and was like, oh, what should dogs eat? And by the end of the night, I was like, oh, raw food. Okay, makes fucking sense. They don't know how to cook raw food. So I started feeding him raw meat. And the first day, I brought him like a live chicken. It wasn't alive, but it was like a whole chicken. And he was 6 weeks, so he's a little ass dog, like size of my hand. This motherfucker ate the whole thing, like raw, with the neck and head still on it, dangling.
Wow.
And right then and there, I was like, yo, I don't think we're supposed to eat meat. I've never seen no baby eat no fucking bone before. I don't give a fuck, carnivore, omnivore. I don't give a fuck what you niggas say. I've never seen no baby eat a whole, crack no bone in his jaw. Like,
So
and right then and there, I knew right then and there that we're not supposed to be eating that shit.
you were able to put two and two together.
Yeah, it was shocking. It was one of the most shocking things I experienced in my life. Like that thought of like, wait a minute, no, it's like, shit was insane.
And don't they say, and I'm not like a biologist or anything when it comes to our anatomy, but it seems to be that we have a large,
Absolutely,
that
large ass intestines.
it's long,
Yeah, it
you
takes us a
know?
minimum, they say, like 36 hours. With meat, I guess, to come out. Obviously, with fruits, ideally, if you're really healthy, I've seen it come out of me in like around 6 hours at my like peak of healthiness, but usually around 12 hours. But the animals, they'll shit it out so quick, like
Right.
immediately. Like
Instant.
within, I've seen my dog shit out something like 4 hours. I kidding you not.
Wow.
Like gone. Um, yeah, they're way more designed. Their teeth, I mean, yeah, it's just so obvious.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, we're omnivores. We evolved to eat cooked food. That's like, bro, what?
Wow.
Nonsense.
It even dawned on me one time when I was in California, and I'm around my family in Riverside when I was over there. And I got uncles and aunties and cousins, and they're all in the kitchen. Boy, you better eat this sausage. Boy, you better eat this. You better eat this. This is good. And one day, while everybody else was sleeping, early in the morning, Azzdine, because I was meditating, I was doing all sorts of stuff, so I had high energy. So I'd be up when the lights weren't even on. Early in the morning, my uncle, he told me this. And he didn't say this to anybody else, but even he had to admit, he said, you know, we spend more money. He said, we grow more food to feed the animals that we eat than we grow to feed ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, if I was had a company and try to make the most money, I would probably do the same. And it makes sense
You
because then
know?
you can make the most money possible, right?
It was like,
Yeah, it makes no sense. And then people were like, "Oh, vegans kill plenty of animals when you kill the crops." What? It's like
but
that's
that
all you got, buddy.
but that's crazy that you saw that in your dog, that when you saw your dog do that, it dawned on you. Like that was the light bulb moment, you know? Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
pretty earth shattering.
Man, thank you for sharing that, brother. And just thank you for coming on. I don't know, is this the first live that you've done, SD?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't even know how to do this, actually. You could just join other people's lives. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's so easy.
So
You know,
you're recording this?
this is being recorded.
How do you record it? Is
It's
it
automatic.
is on Instagram? Oh, it's automatic. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's automatic. So as soon as you joined, you were already in here. You know,
Okay.
it's already, yeah, everything is. I mean, it's being recorded anyway. You know,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
but for the people who want to watch on the replay and want to absorb the knowledge and consume the knowledge and wisdom, you know, it's being recorded for them as well. So just thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking your time and making the time to be able to have a conscious conversation about some things that I feel like a lot of people are really waking up to today. You know, this is now is really the time, and I'm glad that we met each other during that retreat, you know, at Jenny's place.
Yeah, that was awesome. Then you went like all over the world. Where are you right now?
So at the moment, I'm in a little state called Texas.
Little Snake. Is that where you're from?
No, so I'm from South Carolina, but I do have family in San Antonio, so I visit from time to time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it
So
freezing over there too?
no, it's pretty hot today.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Today is pretty hot. The sun is out, the sun is shining, you know, the light is upon us, you know. So we'll be heading off to the next adventure, but where's the next adventure for you, brother? What are you looking forward to?
Um, I guess just progressing and new experiences.
Mm, yeah.
And tomorrow morning,
Yeah, you know, you in the present.
getting
You,
on my motorcycle. I guess that's probably the most thing I'm looking forward to.
yeah, man. Yeah. Oh man, this has been so nourishing, man. I appreciate this. I trust that we'll be able to have another one of these. We
Anytime.
it feels like we scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me on. That's awesome.
awesome, man. So enjoy the rest of your day, brother. And until the next time.
Take care, brother.
And oh, before you go, is there anything that you would like or for anybody to know about, if you had any services, or if anybody would like to reach out to you for questions about what you talked about, where would you like them to go to reach out?
Oh, you could hit me up on Instagram. And anyone watching this, Vipassana is awesome. Check out Vipassana. Amazing. But yeah,
Okay.
you could hit me up on Instagram. I'll answer
All right. So just slide into the DMs, y'all.
for
He,
sure.
he's opened the door to the DMs. You got it. All right, man. Take
Thank
care.
you, brother. Peace.
Peace, brother. Awesome.